G'day friends and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today we're discussing lenses specifically for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. That's still a mouthful of a camera name. Anyway, these lenses are budget lenses that I picked up for the Micro Four Thirds range that allows me to capture, different situations on the Blackmagic. Anyway, if you want to find out about which are my three go-to lenses, then stick around. And welcome back. Now the three lenses we'll be discussing today are in the Panasonic's Micro Four Thirds range, which is what the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K uses. Some of the newer pocket cameras actually have a different mount, but we're concentrating on the 4K today. So that's why Micro Four Thirds are the lenses we're going to talk about. So the first one I want to discuss is Panasonic's what sometimes is referred to as the kit lens, and this one is the 12 to 60 millimeter. The second lens we'll be talking about is the Panasonic 45 to 150 millimeter f4 to 5.6. Now this is a great zoom lens. I use it for nice close-ups, or when I want to get something that's far away into a better frame. It comes in real handy. It is not really that good in low light, but if you're shooting out in sunny conditions, it does the trick and it does it well. So we'll be seeing some examples of this lens today as well. And last but not least, the other lens we're talking about is the Panasonic Leica DG Sumilux 15mm f1.7. Now this one is the pricier of the three, but I bought it specifically to get some separation from the background. I also wanted to have something that was going to be useful in low light situations. But I also wanted it to be wide enough so I can use it either in studio or for, let's say, landscape when I'm outside and trying to get the breadth of the land on camera. So that is becoming slowly but surely one of my favorite prime lenses that I've been using on either Canon or Micro Four Thirds. But I'm going to give you some examples of how I use it. So let's have a look at some footage that I captured in Sydney Harbour. On this day, we had a beautiful day in Sydney Harbour. Some of the conditions were changing though, because it started off nice and sunny and we did have some clouds. So from time to time you would get, different lighting conditions, but that didn't affect the recording too much. Now, the beauty about having a 12 to 60 kit lens is that it gives you a lot of variety while you're out and about, looking at all the different situations where you may be able to use this particular lens. Now I started it in the 12 millimeter first of all, and like just your usual stuff, 25 frames per second. The shutter speed was 1/50, but I did have to, because we're doing landscape, I had to open it up to f22 and try to use a native ISO with a Blackmagic, which is 400. Now, one of the things that I noticed straight away is that when you're trying to record outside with such a wide lens, you have to be careful when it comes to setting the right focus, because I did have a few goes at this and I did realize that I accidentally would not get the focus as sharp as I wanted to. So in the outdoor conditions, sometimes the LED on the Blackmagic wasn't bright enough to give you that, really good, sharp image as far as the focus assist was concerned. So anyway, I finally managed to get a good, focus on the exterior, but it also helped that I had the iris open all the way, so that sort of made it a lot easier from that depth of field perspective. Now, in regards to this particular lens, I did try it in different, zoom. I had at 12, at 25, 50 and 60 millimeter. Once again, great ability to change the framing depending on what it is that you want to capture. It was a great, I guess, lens for the lighting conditions. But I did notice that in post-production, I did have to sharpen the image a little bit because it tended to be a little bit soft. But all in all, it seemed to be seemed to do the trick really well, and I was quite content with what it was recording and the images I got out of it. I try to make sure that I kept all the settings as close as possible to the original settings, so then we have a good comparison. But this particular lens, the 45 to 150 millimeter, lets in less light than the kit lens. So I had to take that into consideration. When filming, the Harbour is great because there's a lot of light, light reflecting from the Harbour, and obviously on a nice sunny day, it had no trouble. But the minute that I got a bit of cloud, it actually did change it, the conditions, quite dramatically sometimes. So it is a great lens to get those nice close-ups, and I managed to get some beautiful, I guess, footage of some of the traffic going up and down the Harbour, which was fantastic. But at the same time, I had to make sure that it was nice and still and steady, and make sure that the lighting conditions were good enough for this particular lens. I was happy with it, but once again, I did find that it wasn't as sharp as I would have liked it. So there was some sharpening done in post-production in order to do that specific clean image that I was looking for. Now with the Blackmagic, it has a beautiful sort of grainy style of recording. I find that the images that it captures and the video that it captures is very much cinema style, and that's great. But when you sort of trying to capture some high detail, this lens was a little bit soft. One of the things that I do have to mention is the zooming action on both of these lenses. They are not very smooth. If you don't have a very stable and robust tripod to keep the camera nice and steady, I'd be wary of, pulling the zoom in and out, because it does create a lot of shake on the camera. And so I had to, let's say, frame what I was going to record first prior to hitting the record button, so I didn't get any shakiness on the video. But apart from that, I mean, as you can see, it's capturing amazing images, everything from 45 to 150. This particular lens did the trick. Now, the last email I tried on the field was the one I'm looking at you right now through, which is the 15 millimeter. I had the f-stop at 16. And the great thing about this particular lens is that it lets in a lot of light. And thankfully, because by this time we've got some cloud rolling in, and obviously the light diminished. One of the things that I did notice about this, obviously apart from it allowing me to take in more light without having to play with the ISO or anything like that, was the fact that this lens is very sharp, much sharper than the other two. And obviously that lens itself, because it is a Leica lens, you are paying a little bit more money for this particular lens, and it is something that's quite reliable. Now, being a wide angle prime lens, we don't have to worry about zooming in and out, but we do have to make sure that our composition is already in our minds before we point the lens at our subject. One of the great things about this particular quality lens is the fact that there's very little vignetting and distortion on the side, so you get some nice straight lines, especially when it comes to buildings and things like that. Now, this lens is the one that I got to use here in the office, but at the same time, it is great to catch some beautiful sort of cinematic type of footage. I had a bit of a rainstorm, and I managed to capture this footage, and it gives you I guess a view of the potential of this lens if it's used in the right way. So have a look at this. there you have it, friends. All in all, I'm pretty satisfied with these 3 budget lenses, although I have to be conscious about the situation where they're used. Not being the best in low light, I have to make sure that I'm very selective with the scenes that I'm trying to capture in order to get the best out of these lenses. But if you got that in mind, I think you can get some beautiful shots, just like I have been enjoying. Now, obviously, you tend to lose some of that quality on YouTube, but when you're watching it back on your 4K TV at home, you see that, real Ultra HD resolution that is so amazing when you watch it in the right format. Anyway, like I said, that is it for today. Hopefully you got something out of my lens overviews. I will be doing a specific review on the Summilux lens, the 15mm, which I think has a lot of merit. And so look, stay around for that video when it comes up in the next week or so. So until the next time, thanks for watching and ciao for now.